Hey, yo, what's going on, y'all? A little slight delay there for me getting on live. My bad. A slight delay there for me getting online and getting on live. Yeah, a little bit of both. Yeah, most definitely. But I'm here. I'm in the building now. I'm definitely up in the building. So yeah, tonight's live about these vampires. It shall be very interesting. So yeah, I mean, without any delay, of course, we're here and I might as well give y'all a good introduction because we're about to talk about these vampires. Of course, it's Halloween, and I'm pretty sure there might be some people that do Halloween, so that's probably why they were expecting for me to be live tonight. I mean, they were expecting for me to be live the day before Halloween, as I had originally. Yeah, I had originally scheduled for this live to be on the 30th, and I moved it to the 31st. I had a very long day at work, so that's why I moved it up one day, and it's on Halloween. Uh, hey, no problem, Brown. Do life, just do your thing, man, and yeah, be safe on them roads, fam. I'm glad that you stopped by anyway. Much love. But yeah, this live shall be very interesting. But yeah, we're gonna talk about these vampires. Count Dracula. Talk about vampires. Tonight is a full moon for the first time in like 76 years across the United States of America. Just a little bit of fact for you, for those who did not know that. Okay, enough of the Dracula impersonation. Okay, but no, we gonna talk about these vampires tonight because there's a lot to be said about it. A lot of untold truths about the energy vampires. So we're going to talk about these untold truths. Well, just to give y'all an overview, pretty much, what is what is some of the untold truths out there? Well, did you know that there is something out there that is worse than the energy vampire? We're going to get into it. Yes, we are going to get into it. Yes, we are. So that's one of the untold truths. Yes, there is actually something out there that is worse than the energy vampire. Now, before I fully go in, I just want to say that also in regards to my original scheduled live for this one, it was supposed to have been on the 30th, and I moved it to today on Halloween on the 31st. That was not by coincidence, by the way. I was not planning on doing this live on Halloween. But I noticed that I lost 2 subscribers between then and now. So basically, somebody probably just wanted to be around for the live stream and probably felt some type of way because I did not do my live as scheduled. But hey, all of my real supporters, they know what's good, they know my quality, and we finna go in. And those were probably vampires that got mad because I did not show up when I said I would. Hmm. That actually has a lot to do with energy vampire behavior. And this is all speculation. I don't really know what took place. I'm just talking, y'all. So don't mind me sometimes. But I gotta, you gotta have a sense of humor about things sometimes. My humor, I guess my sense of humor could be dry to some people, who knows? But yeah, one thing I want y'all to keep in mind about vampires overall, not just energy vampires, but vampires overall. Vampires are parasites. Once again, vampires are parasites. And no, I'm not using my microphone tonight because my phone is barely getting a charge. So, hey, but I got a portable for it. So we still live, baby. So, with that said, grab get your popcorn, get your nachos, get your hot dogs, and get your sodas. And if you like Brown Do Life, just listen, tune in. Hopefully, this will get you down the road safely if you're traveling like Brown Do Life is right now. So, uh, But yeah, vampires are parasitic, and they're just a form of a parasite. Let's look no further than a vampire bat. Okay. Hey, what's good, Nicola J? Likewise to you. Yes, indeed. Hey, what's good, Venom? Good to see you in the building once again. You said good that you scheduled it for a direct conflict of the pagan and satanic ritual night. Right on. I appreciate that. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate that because I think this is kind of one of those places where if you're not into Halloween, you could come to my live stream instead. But it's not actually about me talking about Halloween, but this is kind of, give you something to think about during this time of Halloween. So you could think about what the real vampires are out there. FYI, there are actually vampires or people that profess themselves to be vampires. They do suck blood. Yes, they do literally suck blood. Okay. Human blood. Okay. Now, going back to my point about vampires being parasitic. And yes, like what Venom said, mosquitoes are vampires too. Leeches, leeches are, and yes, vampire bats. But what do all these animals have in common that I consider and Venom just considered vampires? You know, given their parasitic nature, the thing is they suck you dry. You know, they literally suck you dry. Now, this is actually one form of what I think an energy vampire is. But overall, the traditional quintessential vampire is the one that sucks your blood. Okay. We're going to talk about this new age vampire, though, because there's a new type of a vampire out there. Okay. So let's get off into some of these points. Uh, the main thing you need to know, once again, is that vampires, like the energy vampire, and you see it as parasitic, as I just told you. So, yes, energy vampires are parasitic people. So yes, avoid parasitic people. And there are ways that you can know that a person is being parasitic with you. Going back to some of these untold truths. So I just gave you one untold truth, and that's the fact that there's actually something worse than an energy vampire out there. We're going to get to that. But the second untold truth I just gave you is that vampires are parasitic. Okay. Everybody talks about vampires, but we really don't talk about their true nature. Their nature is a parasitic nature. And there's something I want to really bring up with y'all in regards to this parasitic nature. The way that you can know about it is you can know about it just based on reciprocation. My thoughts on reciprocation. A lot of it is based on the give and take. Okay. A lot of it is based on give and take. So basically, reciprocation works if, in regards to the feminine and the masculine, for sure, if a man gives, but he doesn't get nothing back in the form of reciprocation, not that he's really expecting for the feminine gender to give him anything, but she should reciprocate upon what he's already given her. That's a form of a parasite. Basically, she has nothing to reflect to him back in return. So that's why, as me and Venom have talked about before, and as I've had always stated for a while in regards to the Twilight amongst a man in her life who she's encountered as a Black Knight, that is not a parasitic relationship. That is a symbiotic relationship. Totally different, because when you're symbiotic with someone, you're one with them. Whereas when it's parasitic, one is just trying to take something from you. So that's the thing I want y'all to think about. Okay. So with that said, going forward, just keep in mind that yes, there's definitely something worse than what we think in regards to this energy vampire. And I'm actually trying to there's actually something I'm trying to show y'all more, kind of looking it up because I really don't take notes, but there is an example. Okay, I got it already. Okay, so check this out, y'all. Like if any of y'all have seen Blade, okay, Blade had the traditional vampire in it. And then of course Blade himself was like a vampire hunter, even though he was half human, half vampire himself. Long story, someone probably can give a better summary of that story than me in regards to Blade. By the way, once again, not a coincidence, but a lot of people have told me that I look like Blade when they see me walk with my Oakleys on my face. You know what I'm saying? And I do my signature mohawk between the spring and early summer. And yes, late winter, I wear my signature mohawk. Okay. So everybody be like, yo, you look like Blade, Ray. It's crazy. But see, the thing is, Blade in the first installment of the movie, he encountered, your traditional vampire. He sucks your blood, all that good stuff, right? But then I think in the second Blade, he encountered something that was worse than a vampire. And this creature was called a Reaper. It was basically it was a new form of a vampire that it's it's more than just a bloodthirsty creature. Okay, these creatures were more than just bloodthirsty. They didn't just desire to suck out your blood; they sucked out your whole being. So that's the thing about, they literally solidify you. They literally turn your whole body inside out like a solvent. Your whole body just dissolves and becomes liquefied, and then they suck every part of you out. So that's what makes the Reaper more dangerous, more lethal than the traditional vampires. So vampires had a problem on their hands when they ran into these Reapers. They represent like this new type of vampire, but I think it was based on an experiment that went wrong that these things came about. So keep this in mind now, right? And take notes because I'm going somewhere with this for those who like, yo, you talking in circles. No, I'm not. I'm going somewhere with this. So before I go further, let's see what Venom said. Uh, you said succubus and other abominable parasites of society, they suck blood. Exactly. When we're talking on a social perspective in regards to this energy vampire. And then you said narcissists are vampires as well. We're going to get to that, Venom. I'm glad you brought up that word narcissist. We're going to get there. We're definitely going to get there. You said also, Venom, anyone who doesn't reciprocate loyalty, honesty, and respect is a vampire too. Exactly. So reciprocation is key. That's how you can tell when someone is an energy vampire or not. Basically, someone with narcissistic tendencies. Okay. Now, you also said, Venom, his mother was attacked when he was in the womb. Oh, you were talking about Venom. You were talking about my bad, Venom. You were talking about Blade. Okay, cool. And then you said Reapers fed on vampires as well. Exactly. Woo, yeah. Keep in mind what how I'm going with this, y'all. And oh, you been called Blade for a long time too, Venom? Yeah, that's what's up. And I think it takes a Blade like individual, really, to kind of understand like what I'm saying, and for me to understand what I'm saying. And this is like, you know what I'm saying, outside of people actually calling me Blade. I think Blade is kind of like a personality type. You kind of know about these energy vampires out here. So, all right, we finna go in. So I hope y'all got y'all popcorn, nachos, hot dogs, and sodas. And y'all sitting tight, because it's finna be a doozy. All right, here we go. Now, Venom brought up about narcissism. I was going to go in there because there are 3 types of energy vampires, but there is one that is worse than the traditional energy vampire. Let's go in. Okay, now, one type of energy vampire is a narcissist. Now, anybody can have a level of narcissism in them. And in some ways, I don't really see narcissist as more so a title, but I can see how it can be a title for someone. But everybody has a certain level of narcissism in them. It's just about what level you're on and how much less narcissistic you are, because this brings up some other points that I'm gonna bring up later, you know. Uh, but yeah, narcissists, look at that as the seed. Okay, so you have one level, which is narcissism. You have the second level, which is um, and this is a mixed match. So y'all can help me with this. The first level is a narcissist, right? In regards to the energy vampire. The second level, or the second type, is a psychopath, and the third type is a sociopath. Okay. Now, pound for pound, you'll have your psychologists. They will tell you that a psychopath is actually worse than a sociopath. Okay. Now, and there's also this saying that, you know, a narcissist may not necessarily be psychopathic or sociopathic, but a sociopath and a psychopath, you better believe, are narcissistic, you know, if that makes sense to somebody out there. Okay. But someone that's a narcissist, that is the seed, or that is the infection. Okay. So kind of like what Venom said before, like someone that was attacked by a vampire per se, you know, whether you were in the womb of the host that got attacked or you were attacked yourself. You know, narcissist represents the seed, the infected one. Okay. That's the seed. Okay. That's lightweight. You know, you can tell when someone is just a narcissist. They're not really about that life. Okay. That's the seed. That's just the infection. And then you have the psychopath. The psychopath, I believe, is it's the traditional vampire. Okay. And then the sociopath is the reaper, this new level of vampire. So yes, when I said there is something worse than an energy vampire out there, what I mean is you have this energy reaper, this sociopath. Yes. So sociopaths are starting to appear to be worse than psychopaths. The untold truths of energy vampires. You're hearing it first from yours truly. Okay. And yeah, probably from anywhere else, because this all kind of ties in. And if you have not seen my previous live stream about the energy werewolf, please make time when you get a chance. Feel free to check that live stream out. It is in my playlist titled Live Streams from Yours Truly. You'll love it. It'll tie right in with what I'm talking about right now. And I'll sort of touch on the energy werewolf tonight, not too much, but just a little bit, because it does kind of tie in with some of the points that I'm talking about with these untold truths of the energy vampires. What did Venom say? He said, for many reasons, from looks to skills and weapons I use, to finally my mentality in regards to why they called you Blade. Got you, Venom. Got you. I feel you. Same way here. Same way here. But here's the deal. Let's talk more about this nature, the nature of each. Okay. And then I guess it's up to you all to basically think about which one is worse. Is it the sociopath or the psychopath that's actually worse? Let's think about the nature of these type of people in regards to, you know, the vampire and the reaper. Once again, your narcissist was the infected one. It was the seed. It was the person that got bit. So you see a lot of folk. Let's talk about this. The nature of the narcissist. They represent someone that was infected. So there's someone that's just been hurt, and you just see them lashing out, taking their anger out on people. Like basically what they've been through was so raw and so fresh. You know, like they say, hurt people hurt people. Okay. Now that's different from someone that's healing. That's another ball game. That's another rabbit hole. We might dig a little bit into that rabbit hole. But yeah, the hurt people hurt people. And that's basically the behavior of a narcissist. They're just acting out. They don't really know what they're doing, but you could tell like their wound is very fresh. Their wound is fresh. The bite on their neck was very recent. And probably when the person hurt them, did the hurting, they were laughing in front of them like, Dracula, Count Dracula. I see you hurting. There's nothing I can do about it. You're so weak. Pity you, but no pity. Pity you. So, and that's how people do a person that becomes like a narcissist. They usually say, like, with someone that's a narcissist per se, the infected one, they went through some string of abuse in their life and they never had a chance to really get over it, or they never knew how to get over it. So that's the seed, that's the infected one, right? They never knew how to get over it. They never knew how to get rid of the infection, the narcissist. Now, let's talk about the traditional energy vampire, because the narcissist is just, let's just say they're a baby energy vampire in regards to all this. They're baby vampires. Just get over narcissists, y'all. When y'all see that someone is being narcissist, just know that they've been hurt. Okay, and they're just taking their hurt out on you. They're babies. Just brush them off. Let the baby cry. Okay, don't give them a pacifier. Don't pacify them, y'all. Don't pacify them. That's the thing. When you know someone is being narcissistic with you, don't pacify them. I had to learn this the hard way. Yes, yours truly had to learn this the hard way, but I was able to recover. So that's my testimony to y'all. Maybe I'll add part of my testimony to this live stream to a certain extent. Nicola said, "Yep." You said, Nicola, you said, "Yep." The vampire like the surprise element. Yes, they do. Exactly. So that makes somebody probably more of a narcissist than what they even realize. Now, that goes a long way because probably it was in that person all this time. This goes to my next point. Before I get to that next point, you said, Nicola, and just pure craziness. Yes, it is. It's pure craziness. We finna get crazier with this live stream. Yeah, buddy, we finna get real crazy. Now, we just basically talked about the behaviors and the nature of the narcissist, which is very lightweight. Oh, Ice Turner, what's good, fam? Good to see you up in the building, for sure. Now, there was the song that I heard earlier. I forgot who sung the song, but in the hook of the song, he said something. He said something on the lines of, "My heart been broke so many times, I don't know what to believe." And my mom said it is my fault because I wear my heart on my sleeve. Yes, he said, my mom said it was my fault because I wear my heart on my sleeve. So I'm going to be cold like ice. I'm going to be cold like ice. No pun intended, Ice. No pun intended, Ice Turner. But what this usually means is when people get hurt after they put their heart out there, some people become cold. But it's not that they really become cold like ice. See, when they say ice, that's not what is really going on. What's really going on is that they were infected. They got the seed of being a narcissist. They got bit by a vampire. And some people are made different. Some people can heal from being bit by a vampire. We're going to talk about that. But some people, they become just like the vampire. Why? They got infected. Okay. Hate. Let me tell y'all this. Hate is very contagious, but love is very hard to come by because you got to work for it. You got to believe in it. But hate, oh my goodness, hate is so contagious. And lo and behold, vampires are very contagious. They're very contagious when they do all this biting, So, hey, good day to Bradley. What's good, fam? Good to see you back up in the building. Now, we just talked about the nature of the narcissist in a nutshell. Anybody got any questions about it? Feel free to let me know in the chat, or those listening to this on the replay, comment below. Now, let's talk about the nature of the social. Let's talk about, well, actually, we ain't gonna get to the sociopath. Yeah, let's get to the psychopath, because I see the psychopath as the traditional vampire. Why do I see the psychopath as the traditional vampire? Because they say, like a lot of psychologists, they say the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath is the psychopath was born crazy, and the sociopath becomes crazy. So what you have with basically a narcissist is basically someone that was infected by a crazy person, you know. But at best, that narcissist could become a sociopath because they probably weren't like that at first, but they became like that upon being infected, you see? But I see the psychopath as the traditional one because, yes, they were born that way. They were born crazy. And kind of like you were born a vampire, born an energy vampire. Get it? Sociopaths become energy vampires after so long. After so long. So after you got infected, and then you start to have this hard heart and you start to be very evil and bitter. Well, you became that way. You weren't that way at first. What happened? Okay. But see, let's talk more about this nature. Okay. Sort of. I'm not going to go too heavy in it because I'm talking about these untold truths. Now, psychopaths to me represent the traditional vampires. So what do traditional vampires do? They suck you dry. They suck you dry. They suck your blood, right? Now, with the sociopaths that are made, you know what I'm saying? I believe they're just like the Reapers. They're messy with it. They're very messy. They're all out carnage. They don't just suck you dry, they eat you alive. A sociopath is very messy with their carnage. Whereas with a psychopath, when they do their job, it's very clean. Yes, you get infected. Yes, you could become a certain way. However, however, it is like the way they do things is so calculated. Just like with a vampire itself, they stalk, they kind of chase down and kind of size you up. They size up who they want to bite. So yes, a psychopath has already figured you out. A psychopath has already figured you out, and it might be too late by the time they sink their teeth into your neck, you know. But the sociopath that comes out of that situation, they just they end up worse. So yes, the less psychopaths in the world, the less likelihood of a sociopath being born, if you will. And I don't mean in the essence of being born, because like I said, a sociopath is made, whereas a psychopath is born. But what I mean is the less psychopaths, uh, the less likelihood we will see a lot of sociopaths, because basically psychopaths make people become sociopaths. For hire, long time no see, sweetie. You said they steal your energy because they're energetically dead. Yeah, that's true about the psychopath, and I will say yes, to a greater extent, the sociopath, because the sociopath wasn't necessarily an energy vampire at first. They became that way. They're feeding this unsolved anger that's within, whereas a psychopath only takes what they need at that moment. If it's you they just happen to target, that's just you who they happen to target, but they want to have not so messy of a track behind them. So you got certain serial killers. They go for many decades without being found because they were true psychopaths. They did not leave too much of a mess behind. Whereas you have some other people that weren't necessarily serial killers, but they kind of did their thing, you know what I'm saying? But and that's no pun intended either. Rest be upon the souls of the innocent. But what I'm saying is you have some other type of killers per se. They leave a they leave a lot of mess behind. They did their job because of the mess they left behind and the emotional uprest they have and all this anger built up, all this that they just had to unleash on everybody, right? Or whoever they felt their victim was. A psychopath does not have emotion. They don't have this in their mind when they want to do something to somebody. It just gets done, and it's almost like it's so silent when they do it. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is with a psychopath. Whereas a sociopath, there's a lot of the emotion, anger, a lot of whatever. So yes, and I know Ice Turner, he did a live stream prior talking about how a lot of females are attracted to sociopaths. Notice I said sociopaths. I didn't say psychopaths, because that's exactly what he said. You know, that's what's going on. A psychopath would be a little, they'd be a little bit more difficult to deal with and be around because remember, a psychopath doesn't have emotion. They're very calculative. They don't really need people around. And they know how to play their part. They know how to act until they get what they want, which is you at that moment. You know, they won't go on a spree or nothing like that. So that's the thing. Okay. So yes, but this is why I say like the psychopath is the traditional vampire. They're very clean with how they deal with and infect people and bite you and take your blood, your energy, and keep it moving and make the people behind become sociopaths, which is this Reaper. Okay, this Reaper is, you know, the next level of vampire. So yeah, when y'all get a chance, check out Blade 2 if you haven't seen it yet. And no, I'm not endorsing for Blade. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not getting sponsors. So let me put that out there right now. But the Reaper, when you see how the Reaper does its killing or infecting, if you will, it's worse. Okay. Now, I think the product of the Reaper upon the Reaper actually taking a hold of somebody, if there were some people that got infected, it became Reapers themselves. So I guess in essence, even though they sucked everything out of you and then in literally eating you alive, you basically become the worst of the worst. So I would say, yeah, there's at this point nothing really worse than a sociopath because they're just uncontrollable when the time comes. So that's really what's worse than an energy vampire. In essence, when I say energy vampire, I'm just talking about traditional vampire, aka the psychopath. What's worse than the psychopath to me, based on what I just described, is the sociopath. But obviously, you're talking about just being calculative and truly deadly with no emotion or anything like that. Yes, hands down, psychopath all day long. The traditional vampire all day long. The traditional vampire is like stronger and everything. You know what I'm saying? But the thing with the Reaper, as you saw in the movie Blade, it has similar strength to the I think it's actually slightly stronger than the traditional vampire. And I guess in essence, this is just due to just raw energy. So this reminds me of the sociopath in essence on a social level, similar to the Reaper. You just see more emotion, more raw energy being put out and unleashed upon a person, upon them being upon them being angry, if you will. You know, for hire said, or they drain you by always venting. But LOL, when you're going through something, it's an annoyance. Yeah, facts. And then you also said for hire, I don't want anyone energy but mine. Yeah, and I feel you in regards to that for hire. It should be based on reciprocity, reciprocation. That's how it should be. Because we do literally feed off each other. But literally that's what I mean, feed off each other. It's not a one-sided thing. In regards to the vampire, it's a one-sided thing. You're not getting nothing from the vampire at all. So you said Venom, I'm a vampire hunter, all of their strengths, but none of their weaknesses. Facts. So yeah, I mean, notice though, I think you said it's also based on what you said for hire. You said, and I repeated this earlier, but you said they steal your energy because they're energetically dead. Now think about this. The vampires start to look old as Methuselah if they don't have any blood. These energy vampires start to look old as Methuselah, but upon them getting blood, they get stronger, they get more strength, they start to look younger, you know what I'm saying? But the thing about these Reapers, if you will, these AKA sociopaths versus these psychopaths, the Reapers, they don't have an age. They just have a lot of wrath and furiosity. So yes, that's the thing. When you see someone that's like a sociopath, they're not the best looking person, in my opinion. You can tell that they're a mess. But what do? You still try to go around them. You still trying to help them. Yet all the red flags are there, but you still try to help them. With a psychopath, you won't necessarily see those red flags. because they're probably doing fine right now. The psychopath has enough blood in their system, so they're looking good. They're actually doing well for themselves. You would never know, but you better hope that they're not thinking about your blood. You better hope that psychopath doesn't think about your energy. Whereas a sociopath is pretty much like the sociopath is going to hurt anybody in their path, male or female. Nicola J said, can't avoid mental disorders, anxiety, depression, and bipolar disorder is the norm these days, nowadays. Facts. These are all part of this whole energy vampire. All these are what you described as different symptoms. And of course, I won't necessarily say like let's just break this down what Nicola J said. Which ones do y'all think represent the sociopath and the psychopath based on what Nicola J just said? I'm gonna tell you what I think. The mental disorders, yeah, that can represent both sociopath and psychopath. You know, the psychopath was born with this mental disorder. They say it is genetic with the psychopath. So think they came from a line in a family of psychopaths. They have a psychopathic family, okay? And I think we know people like this. We know people like this. Now, anxiety, now I think that's more of a sociopath. I think that's sort of part of even the early stages of an infected one, aka the narcissist. They deal with this. The psychopath doesn't have anxiety, depression, to a certain extent. I'd say with all three type of energy vampires, only to a certain extent. You know, um, I would say that. You know, but especially with the psychopath, there ain't gonna be no depression with the psychopath. Not at all. Even if they did something wrong and they're probably in their dire straits, you probably would never see depression from a psychopath. I would say it's very, very rare. And if there's any depression with a psychopath, he'll just kill himself or she'll kill herself, if you will. Okay. Now, bipolar. Bipolar, that's definitely a sociopath behavior. And to a certain extent, the narcissist. Because how many times we hear about folk being bipolar? I mean, gosh, I mean, I had an ex that was like bipolar. Man, that was before I even knew about this term narcissist. But that was the next thing I heard about. You know, you hear about bipolar, then you start to learn about narcissists. Okay, so it just ties in. But yes, definitely a sociopathic behavior, not a psychopathic behavior. Okay, and like you said, Nicola J, it is definitely the norms. So I'd say there's a lot more sociopaths in this world versus psychopaths. And kind of ironically, in the movie Blade, there was a lot more Reapers that started to show up. Reapers, aka sociopaths, versus the traditional vampires, aka psychopaths. So yes, definitely more sociopaths in this world than psychopaths. Let me see. Uh, Kai Alpha. Good to see you up in the building for the first time, by the way, fam. You said Peace King, great topic. I appreciate that. Right on, man. Right on. Uh, Venom said, you left out PTSD. I am one with such, but I don't drain others to get by. And yes, here's the thing about that, Venom. What you just described, whoo, that is like a paradigm in many different ways. With PTSD, in my opinion, it is not necessarily part of the trait of a psychopath. PTSD is for sociopaths, narcissists, and I'm kind of speaking ahead of myself based on the acronym Venom. But yes, this also applies to codependent people. We're going to get to codependent people. Codependent people are what I've described as the energy werewolf versus the energy vampires that are these narcissists. Like I said, check out my playlist, live streams from yours truly. Check out that live stream I did talking about the energy werewolf. Y'all gonna love that. I'm pretty sure y'all will. I hope y'all do. Most definitely. I feel you, Kyle. Kyle, you said elbow cough. Facts. uh, you said also, Kyle, they wear masks to another thing to pay attention to the masquerade party. Yeah, I mean that's definitely the psychopath. You know what I'm saying? Definitely the psychopath. The sociopath, I won't say they wear their heart on their sleeve. They wear their emotions on their sleeve. with the sociopath. The psychopath kind of can, put that mask on, and they gonna take that mask off. Take that mask off, like Future talked about, you ain't gonna see the psychopath take their mask off like that. Hey, what's good, DJ Moss? What's up, man? Okay, let's get going, talk more about this, y'all. We're just getting in, just getting in, and this is just barely scratching the surface. Okay. You know, because I think really I kind of been I kind of told y'all that there was something worse than the energy vampire, but to a certain extent, I didn't tell y'all everything. I didn't tell y'all everything. I got to do this to y'all. Y'all know I do everything from an inverted perspective at my channel. So, yes, I would say that the psychopath is worse than the sociopath. No, let me rewind that. DJ Moss in the building. What I meant to say was, yes, the sociopath is worse than the psychopath. However, there is something worse than the narcissist. There is something worse than the sociopath. There is something worse than the psychopath. What is this? Enter the codependent, aka the empath. Yes, the empath is worse than the sociopath, the psychopath, and the narcissist. When you get an empath angry, it's game over. It's lights out. So we hear about these crimes of passion. These were not done by narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, from what I've gathered. These are done by empaths who've lost their temper. Someone pressed that wrong button and they snap. That empath snapped. They said, "Oh, you want to know what I'm feeling?" The data types that say, "You gonna know what I'm feeling. How does it feel?" Now you gonna know what I feel. So yes, some empaths, they snap. And that ties in with this energy werewolf, that live stream that I just told y'all about. Because an empath can be the worst when they snap. So AKA the vampire hunter, as well as Venom brought up earlier. 1 second, y'all. Okay, so I'd say that the codependent, aka the empath, can come into they come in two different types of forms. Okay, now basically what you described, Venom, in regards to what you meant in regards to like your former self, in regards to the vampire aspect of everything, you would be what I would call the converted narcissist. I believe that is a term too. I believe if y'all look that up, there's this idea of the converted narcissist. Okay, so that's someone that could easily become an empath, but you also have the codependent, aka the energy werewolf. Okay, and I described that. Yeah, exactly. Kai Alpha. Empaths attract narcissists. Now, see, based on what I said earlier, this applies for the first level of the energy vampire. The narcissist hasn't quite become a sociopath yet. They haven't quite become a sociopath. Now, if they're a weak empath, or the empath is they're just trying to remain codependent, then maybe the narcissist can get the best of that empath at that time. However, if that empath snaps based on their codependency, man, that narcissist is in for a rude awakening. That narcissist will be hunted down by that converted narcissist, aka vampire hunter, or they'll be stalked by that empath if they were a codependent type or the energy werewolf type, like I've talked about. You also said, Chi Alpha, big brother, I just escaped last month from a narcissist woman I've been with for 3 years, and the blessings started coming when you leave that alone. Oh man, yeah, most definitely, Kyle, for and much blessings to you, fam. I don't know if you come from a converted narcissist background or a codependent background, but the fact that you were able to come out of that, you know what I'm saying? That's a blessing, because a lot of people can't say that. A lot of people can't say that. You also said, Kyle, you're right, bro. I'm a Pisces empath. We absorb everything, and once we snap, we look like a bad guy. I mean, basically at that point, you become their worst nightmare. Where do you think that term worst nightmare came from? Food for thought. Uh, you also said, Chi Alpha, some command body, all of them at one a body for the legions. I kind of understand what you mean. Maybe break that down a little bit for me more, Chi Alpha, if you don't mind. But I think I know where you're coming from. Uh, for Hayes said those people will guilt trip you heavy. Yes, and I would say, yeah. I mean, all three levels or all three types of energy vampires will do that, whether a narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath. They all got their ways of guilting you heavy. Whereas I think with the psychopath, they know how to calculate themselves to where their gaslight is the most effective. Whereas the sociopath and the narcissist, uh, yeah, they're going to be a little messy with, it, if you will. But yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Uh, but I still think the empath is the worst. I still think the empath is the worst upon them snapping. You know, whether, like I said, you come from a converted narcissist background or you come from a codependent background, the empath is the worst when they snap. Because literally, I'm on a mission to hunt down you vampires. I don't care if you're a sociopath, aka Reaper, or psychopath, aka traditional vampire. I'm going to come after you one way or another. I'm going to find you, and I'm not going to stop until I find you. That's when the empath is on a warpath, if you will. Venom G54 said, covert and overt narcissists are the ones who are dangerous. Empaths are usually kind and caring. And you said empaths are usually kind and caring, very attentive to the needs of others. But an empath will either withdraw or repulse negativity. Yeah, I feel you, Venom. And yes, you're right about everything you said. That's why I was saying convert versus covert and overt. So yes, no, I'm not talking about the covert or the overt. There's actually a term called the converted narcissist, which is totally separate. It's just basically someone that no longer has narcissistic tendencies no more, even though they came from that background. In essence, they start to understand more of being like the empath and having more of a codependent behavior versus narcissistic behavior. So yes, a converted narcissist can become very they can be very empathic. You know, a converted narcissist. You know, uh, let's see what Farhaya said. Yep, that's why I don't accept gifts or charm. The other side is beastly. Like they say, looks are deceiving. And yeah, and that's only because you have discernment, Farhaya. Like you just know if someone is giving you a gift, you could tell by their spirit, you could discern. Now, all gifts aren't bad. Don't get it twisted, sweetie. All gifts aren't bad, but you just need to know who you're getting the gift from. That's the key thing. You know what I'm saying? And think about if they want something back in return, or if they get mad because you didn't do something back for them in return. It's just best when you're getting a gift from somebody, they doing it out the goodness of their heart. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really part of what a true empath embodies. I'm big on just giving things. I don't like to do loans. If I'm giving you something, I don't expect for you to pay me back. I'm just giving that to you. Now, of course, if you do something good for me back in return, that's because you're reciprocating that. But I'm usually in my frame of where I'm strong enough to where I can give and I don't expect anything back. I do that out of the goodness of my heart. Now, if I'm around someone that I thought was reciprocating, but then they stop or I realize they won't, then I realize, okay, this person is a narcissist. I need to think twice about giving to that person going forward. Kai Alpha said, some are combined with all in one. So that vessel is full of legions. Oh yeah, that's that. I can see that. That's kind of a hybrid you're talking about, Kai Alpha. Now, I would say with what you just said though, um, the way I could see that being. Let's talk about what you said, Kai Alpha. Because yeah, the psychopath is born crazy. The sociopath becomes crazy, and basically, the narcissist was infected by someone that was crazy. whether that person they were infected by was a psychopath or a sociopath. Okay. Now you're saying that some are combined with all in one. I'd say in regards to the psychopath, I see them more or less as kind of a pure blood type of an individual, if you will. So sort of like the vampire movies, they want to be pure. But yes, a mixture of someone that's a narcissist and a sociopath. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because somehow you can have someone that they grew up in a crazy family, right? But they weren't necessarily on the verge of being a sociopath, but they always had narcissistic tendencies, you know? And then I would say after so long, they started to become worse with their narcissism. So they start to become a sociopath. Now, I see what you mean in regards to probably combining all in one. Maybe, just maybe, that sociopath got around a psychopath. Ooh. And they got in, hey, that statement, you ran into the wrong person. That could apply to a sociopath running into a psychopath, you know, and you end up worse than how you started. Now, this is a deep rabbit hole, I'm probably not even explaining it in the best and in the entirety that I desire. But that's a good point you brought up, Kai Alpha. You also said, I broke the generational curses, big bro. I'll come. I've come from a family full of Jezebels. They chased away masculinity. Much blessings once again, fam. I'm glad that you got out of that. I can relate. Me and you got a similar story. I've always been like, let's just say I've always been that man amongst a lot of males. You know, they weren't real men and they were ran by a lot of females in the family. But I always stood on my own pivot. I always stayed true to frame, if you will. I've always been my own man. I didn't like them to try to run me and tell me what to do. When I was young, they hated that I stood on my own as a young man. And when I got older, they really didn't like that when I got older. And when I got older, I got away. I was like, look, you don't, you know, I'm going to be a man whether you like it or not. That's what I kept telling them. I was telling them this as a boy. I sure was. But I'm glad you got out of that, fam. Much blessings. Uh, let's continue to keep going. Okay. But yeah, I guess from some of the things I've been thinking about, the empath is the opposite of the narcissist, sociopath, and psychopath. However, there are there are a whole lot of narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths that say that they are empaths as a form of manipulation. Now, how many times y'all probably checked out YouTube videos, or you probably have known somebody that has said that they were an empath, but you knew that they were anything but that. Yeah, you knew that they were anything but an empath, just based on their behavior alone. That told you right there, no, that's just a vampire in disguise. You claim you're an empath, but you're really a narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath. I haven't figured out which one yet, but you ain't gonna get to me. You're not gonna get to me. So I say this is definitely someone that if you're standing in front of these types of vampires, you're either the werewolf or you're the vampire hunter that can sense these things. That no, I'm aware of this type of behavior. You're not going to get to me like that. And I would say, y'all, if y'all are very good at knowing that there are vampires out there, help others to know that. Okay, help other help others to know that, because I think that this is important, especially in these times that we're living in. Now, this can speak as a whole in regards to the whole wild world. Do we live in a vampire society? I'm gonna leave that up. I'm gonna leave that up to y'all to answer. I'm not going to even answer that question. Just some food for thought. Uh, you said, Chi Alpha, hereditary upbringing in the people they slept with. Yeah. Yep. See, I can see that. Yeah, that's major. That you got females that aren't women like that, and you know, they bring all this into a generational curse type of a situation for the children to endure, and only the strong ones endure. you know, unfortunately. That is very unfortunate, but I'm glad you made it through, fam. And, my hearts, my prayers, and my thoughts are for others that are going through that to get through. And yes, my email is in the About section if anyone ever wants to reach me. That includes you too, Chi Alpha. My email's in the About section. Hit me up. Farhaya said, I used to absorb emotions around me. Now I feel it and drop it. Cool. Explain more on what you mean by drop it, Farhaya. That's a good point. Explain more about that, sweetie. That's dope. And Nicola says she can relate. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Kai Alpha said, I'm glad you said, I'm glad I spiritually group because I realize we have to forgive ourselves and apologize to ourselves for being in those situations. And like you said, use discernment from here on out. Exactly. And here's another key, Chi Alpha, because we really want to know, how can you do this as an empath towards the sociopaths, psychopaths, and narcissists? How do we do this? You forgive them. They weren't expecting you to forgive them. They were expecting you to be infected by them. They were expecting you to be just like them. They were expecting you to become another vampire. When you show behavior that's opposite of what they expected you to be, that breaks a lot of their curses. When you stand strong and you show love despite their infectious hate, despite their infectious bite, you start to look more like a werewolf and more like a vampire hunt. You start to look more like a werewolf and more like a vampire hunter. Because legend has it that the vampires can bite, the vampires can bite the werewolf and they can bite the vampire hunter. However, the wolf and the vampire hunter heal from the vampires. So think about this, y'all. When you become strong as an empath, these vampires can't hurt you. They can't drain from you. You become immune to them. You said for hire. I mean, drop those emotions because those aren't my problems. Some of those people are just emotional. They're just emotionally manipulative. Oh, yeah, most definitely. And I guess over time you find out if they're the sociopath, psychopath, or narcissist. But yeah, I understand exactly what you mean with the emotional side of things. You got to watch how somebody tries to play with your emotions, if you will. Basically, don't even allow them to play with your emotions. Most definitely. That's a good one, Farhaya. You said, Kai Alpha, can you explain why they hate you or despise you once you figure them out? It's like they can't run game on you. It's no need for you to be around no more. Really what it is, if we're just looking at it from a vampire perspective, Kai Alpha, they realize that you have nothing for them to get, you know? So that's really what it is. What they want from you is your innocence, your lack of awareness, because that makes you look weak. So they want you to be weak. So that's really what it is. When you figure them out, they see your strength. And so that's when they run away because they want weakness. They want people that are vulnerable. They want people that are easy for them to attack. They want people that are easy for them to attack. Like Nicola J said earlier, that surprise element. Okay. So yeah, basically they hate you once they realize they can't surprise you no more. They always want to throw you off. That's why I tell, especially a lot of fellas dealing with these females that aren't women, versus women that aren't trying to be like typical females. I tell fellas, you got to stand on your principles as a man, if nothing else. If you don't know how to recognize her female nature, you ain't into all this game. You just stand on your principles, and that's all you need to do. And yes, be righteous, remain spiritual. If you're like me, I'm Hebrew, stick to scripture, as much as possible, Old Testament, FYI. But a lot of this helps you to deal with the Jezebels and the succubus, the succubi that try to come by. Okay. And yes, I'll just use a little profanity to this because I think this means a lot. The succubi that come by, They the succubi suck you by. They fuck you by. You know what I'm saying? Fuck you, then say goodbye. You know, that's the suck you by. They suck you dry. See? Uh, but yeah, that's a lot to say about this. This goes deep because think about this, because this is another level of um the sociopath I want people to think about versus the psychopath. The psychopath, the sociopath is very cannibalistic. Okay, so they're eating you alive, like I said, because it's not just like with the Reapers in Blade. They weren't just sucking your blood; they were making you more like a solvent. They were liquefying you from the inside. They were eating you dry. I mean, they were eating you alive. Yeah, they were eating you dry too. I guess you could say that either way. But think about it though, y'all. Think about it. Think about it. The sociopath literally tries to eat you alive too. Do they not? How many people do you feel like from your past? How many people do you know make you feel like they ate you alive versus someone that sucked you dry? I know what it feels like to almost be eaten alive, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Cannibalized on, if you will. Uh, what do I mean by this? You know, it's really an emotional thing. Because yes, when you deal with the difference between the sociopath and the psychopath in regards to the energy vampire is the sociopath uses emotion for damage, whereas the psychopath does not use emotion for damage. Okay, but so really the gaslighting comes even more from the sociopath versus the psychopath. The 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 uh the sociopath just knows how to mess with your emotions, tear you down, gaslight you really well. You know, whereas the psychopath probably will run a credit card scam on you. Think about that. You know, the psychopath will run a credit card scam and drain you of your resources. But the sociopath would just break you down emotionally. Literally, that's how they eat you alive in that regard. And yes, there are cannibals out there, but we're not talking about that, okay? That's another topic. But yeah, Nicola J, she said, exactly, the food has run out. They need fresh blood. They do this by surprise attack, like an ambush. Exactly. Venom said, they fear being exposed and are hollow husks that must feed on real people. You figure them out, and they know that you cannot be deceived by their masks any longer. Exactly. Doesn't matter whether the narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath, all the same. And they already know. First time up in the building, good to see you, fam. You said bars. Right on, fam. I appreciate that. Yeah. Let's see. Fariah said, okay, she said something to Venom. Okay, but you also said, Fariah, uh, I feel drained and get my power back alone. Yeah, I mean, when you feel detox from people, it's not just even necessarily a detox. I mean, sometimes it is, you know, when you got toxic relationships. So that's another story. I've talked about that too in one of my live streams before. But a lot of times we just mostly feel yeah, we feel drained. We don't really feel like we need a detox. We just feel drained. So there you go. We try to say it's a detox. No, 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 no. Far higher, you're correct. You're drained. How you feel drained? Why? Somebody sucked it out of you. Vampire. Count Dracula. Okay, Venom, you said that would make you an inverted empath. I can relate. Oh, right on. Yeah, yeah, most definitely. There's a lot, you know, hey, I'm talking from an inverted perspective right now. Because a lot of people wouldn't have expect that the empath would actually be more dangerous, you know, upon being mad. So yes, the empath ends up on a warpath against the sociopath and the psychopath and the narcissist, you know. Yes, indeed. Now, but like I said, though, kind of repeating some of the things I said earlier, um, you know, a lot of those folks try to those crazy type of people try to say that they're an empath as a form of their manipulation. But once an empath realizes the manipulation given an empath's codependent tendencies, game over for narcissistic tendencies that people try to put upon them. Because I tell people this, if you're codependent, don't stop being codependent, because that's actually part of who you are. There's nothing wrong with being codependent. We all need to be codependent to each other because we depend on each other. You should, but you need to know that there are some people out there you cannot be codependent with, okay? Because they're not going to reciprocate with you. Basically, codependency is part of reciprocation, just like with your heart. Your heart has this thing called a love and a dove that represent the way your heart beat. Love dub, boom, 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 boom. That's reciprocation basically in the heart represents codependency of the pulse of the heart in order for your heart to beat. So yes, your heart is codependent on that beat taking place, or else your heart will stop beating, okay? So there's nothing wrong with being codependent, but be codependent with someone else that is codependent. Like, y'all can depend on each other, okay? The problem is, if you've been around a narcissistic person and then you probably know somebody that's codependent, well, chances are you're starting to become a narcissist yourself because you got infected by a narcissist. So some people just never heal. They get worse. And then those people become sociopaths. They be like, I've given my all. I've done so much. And I don't, I ain't, they all of a sudden now they're just angry. They're mad at the world. Those how your sociopaths become, Kai Alpha said, it's really spiritual warfare out here, everybody, in this chat. Keep your armor on. It's crazy. This is on a Halloween, y'all. Hey, you hearing stuff about vampires like you've never heard before. So give yours truly a like. Hit the like button if you haven't done it already. You said Venom, until they ascend and walk away like F it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. That too. Facts. You said Chi Alpha, facts. When I was in those relationships, a lot of people have said I looked like Dole, and when I left, I was glowing. Yeah, man. I mean, because check this out. Keep in mind, vampires do not like the light. So check this out. When you figured them out, they started to see your glow. They actually did not just despise you, Chi Alpha. They despised that light that was starting to shine in you. Because remember, vampires do not like the light. That's why I talk so much about masculinity. That represents the light, literally, and it's delightful. So yes, your family pushing out masculinity. They were literally pushing away the light from their family. They were becoming more vampiristic. Okay, real talk. Venom said the emotional overload is from caring for others more than yourself, and it drains you. Yeah, that too, Venom. But it's also that you caring for others that don't even care about you. So that's the other element to it. So yes, you drain yourself by caring more for people than yourself, but also caring more about people that don't even care about you. So really, the key to solve that problem is, yes, first and foremost, start caring about yourself more. Get away from people that don't care about you, but also run into people that care about you. That part is important too. That way you can see what reciprocation looks like, because we all do need each other. So be around people that can reciprocate that to you. Fahaya, you said, I try not to let these experiences harden me. I'm just more discerning. Exactly. So you're more like the vampire hunter or the codependent type, the energy werewolf, you know? So yeah, and like I said, a vampire hunter type is a converted narcissist. Okay, so that's the difference. So you may have had narcissistic tendencies, but now you're on a different frequency. You're more empathic now than you were before. You said Chi Alpha, Melchizedek forever. I keep them child's play, mental ones humble. I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying, Chi Alpha. Okay, let's continue on once again though. So I've said a lot. And there's a lot more I could say, but I think up to this point, what we had an hour mark right now. Um, Man, this has been an awesome live. I'm up here just thinking about it. I appreciate everybody's feedback. But overall, I've talked also in the other live stream about energy werewolves. I brought up this idea that there's something stronger than a werewolf out there too. But yeah, when y'all get a chance, check out that live stream in the playlist of mine. Live streams from yours truly, and you'll see the energy werewolf, that title, and you'll be able to check out what's actually stronger than a werewolf out there, you know? So um they already know. Let's see what he said. I start wearing my Hamza pendant, and certain people kept their distance. That's when I realized who was a vampire. Exactly. There you go. So, yes, think about this, y'all. Think about the people that stay away from you. There's a reason why they stay away from you. What you're doing to them is equivalent to what an exorcist does to a vampire, or a vampire hunter does to a vampire, or even a werewolf. Either way, like, all this stuff it all makes sense to me, every bit of it. Um, Kyle, he said, all praise to the Most High for this topic and frequency. Much love, fam. I'm glad you stopped by, most definitely. But I think on this note, y'all, just, I guess, keep in mind that overall, the main thing I could tell y'all, just in regards to how I broke down these untold truths about energy vampires, just keep in mind the main thing that I said earlier. Vampires are parasitic, and vampires, like, and parasitic people like that, parasites don't know about reciprocation. Okay, so anyone that does not reciprocate to you is a parasite. Hopefully this live made sense to some. Maybe this live did not make sense to others, but to the others that this live made sense to, feel free to hit that like button, especially those listening to this on the replay. And if this is your first time coming to this channel and you like my content in regards to my videos and my live streams, just know that there's definitely more in store. So feel free to subscribe. And for hire said something. You said, I either attract narcissistic or generous people. LOL, extremes for sure. And that's interesting. And so, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, depending on if you did come from the narcissistic world for hire, or you were codependent, either way. But yeah, it happens. But at least now, yeah, you start to sense. We have to really have that discernment, like what Chi Alpha said, have on that full armor. Okay. And yeah, much love, Nicola J. Yes, yes. Much, yeah, you stay blessed as well, Nicola J. Much love. Uh, but yeah, share this live, y'all. Feel free to share this live, as well as my other content. Check out my playlist. I keep telling y'all about it because I got so many gems. I got a lot of playlists y'all could check out. So you ever want to, don't just check out my new content that I upload. I got a lot of older content that I've uploaded that is way ahead of its time, because I don't talk like a lot of people out here on YouTube. And so you'll hear a lot of cutting edge things just from a lot of my videos and live streams. But in regards to just uploads, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you get all of my uploads in real time. And if you ever need to reach me, like I told y'all before, go in the About section. You'll see my email. You'll see the other platforms and channels that I'm on. Make sure that you subscribe to those other channels, because I'm on those other channels too. You ever want to tip yours truly? That's also in the About section. Otherwise, and other than that, I got another live stream coming up first thing tomorrow. And it's going to be me and Ice Turner giving the date of this live stream. y'all gonna be in for another good one, you know? So, but y'all know me, this is what I do. I just speak from the heart, try to give y'all some cutting edge content, things that you've never heard of before, you know? Much love to y'all. And just remember that it's only going to get better from here, no matter what it looks like out there. And I mean that, no matter what it looks like out here. Even if one thinks that we're living in a world of vampires. And yes, it's a full moon, like I said earlier, for the first time in the United States in 76 years. Real talk. But no matter what it looks like out there, you know? And this is, it's crazy, a full moon on a Halloween at that. It's been 76 years. But yeah, no matter what it looks like, it's only going to get better from here. And until next time, signing out. And thanks for stopping by.